good, y'all? Welcome back to RedditGoss. On this channel, we read and react to the juiciest stories Reddit has to offer. Today, we'll be discussing stories from the subreddit r/Am I the Asshole. All relevant links will be posted in the description below. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, y'all. Y'all know we love to jump around the different subreddits on this channel, but we always bring it back to Old Faithful. So let's just go right ahead and see what's up. Am I the asshole for asking my widowed boyfriend to acknowledge our relationship publicly? I, female 27, and my boyfriend of 2 years, male 41, lost his wife to cancer when their daughter was 2. I knew his wife because they lived in the same apartment building as I did. Oh Lord. I already see where this is going, but let's continue. During her illness, I used to bring them food and offer to watch their baby. And after her death, I continued to help because I felt bad for him. He asked me if I could pick up his daughter from daycare and watch her until he came home every day. I didn't mind, as the daycare was within my walking distance of my house. Every evening, he'd pick her up from my place, along with a casserole dish of dinner I'd prepare for him. We weren't friends, and I never initiated small talk. I figured the last thing he needed was a chatty woman bothering him at the end of his day. About a year later, he asked me out. At first, I assumed he wanted me to babysit so he could go on a date. I even told him I was happy he was putting himself out there again. He smiled and clarified that he was asking me to dinner with him. He said his friend and his wife would watch his daughter. We went on a date and took things very slow, which I understood. A few months later, he suggested moving in with me instead of renewing the lease on his place. I agreed. Things have been great and his daughter loves me. Now, here's where I might be the biggest asshole. He's never introduced me to his family, who lives across the country and are still close with his late wife's family. I've only met 2 of his friends once. Last Christmas, he took his daughter to his parents' place. His mom even invited his in-laws. I stayed home and understood. However, this Christmas, he's doing the same thing. There's also not a single picture of me on his social media. It's always just him and his daughter. Under those photos, there are countless comments praising him for raising his daughter all alone with zero help, even though I work and do most of the childcare because he works long hours. When I confronted him about it, he said he doesn't want to hurt his in-laws and that I should be more empathetic. I asked how long he plans to keep me hidden and if he's embarrassed of me. He rolled his eyes and said, "It's not about you. It's about not wanting to broadcast my life to everyone." Am I the asshole for expecting acknowledgement after 2 years? Child, I knew this was going to be some fuck shit when we realized that she's only 27 and this man was, 41? Molly, you in danger, girl. You are in danger. And unfortunately, some of us just have to learn by experience. We don't get to learn by looking at the experiences of others, and I fear the OP is going to have to learn the hard way. This man is clearly taking advantage of her. Took advantage of her kindness, that she was just a nice neighbor down the way wanting to help him out with his daughter. And he definitely preyed on her naivete, because if he wanted to move in together, he should have had her move to his place. The fact that he canceled his lease and is moving into her place and is saving all this money on the rent that he should have been paying when he was living solo, he's more than likely saving money going half with this young girl. He is using her as a live-in nanny and bangmaid. It's been 2 years. How much more time? I'm not even going to say that because there's no expiration date on grief. But this is clearly not a situation of grief. He likes the attention he's getting as coming off as a solo parent. And he likes more than likely wants to continue benefiting from the help he's receiving from his in-laws after the loss of their daughter. Yeah, this guy, child, let's look at the comments. Cute Professional says, "You're the bang nanny." Consistent Editor 15 says, "Yep." Minnie Goody says, "He found himself a bang nanny. Are you sure he loves you or your nanny housewife skills?" OP responded and said, The whole Christmas thing made me think about this. I don't know. Minnie Goody said, if you don't want to end the relationship, you should get him to move out and quote unquote date you like normal. No looking after the kid, housewiving, or him. And not move in again until he is willing to go public. My advice, however, would be to end the relationship. Leah Jadis says, he knows perfectly well the kind of backlash he'd get from people in his life for dating someone younger and so soon after his wife passed away. He'd rather just keep you secret. He is a giant asshole. 707-808-909 says, seems like they have been friends for a while. Maybe they wouldn't like to see him dating a new friend of the wife. Leah Jadis says, so the solution is to sneak her around and hide her like she's a mistress? OP responds and said, yes, all of his friends and their spouses were also his wife's friends. Anna Replica says, it feels like he wants his cake and he wants to eat it too. He has a place to live. He has someone on tap for his daughter. What are you getting in return? Something feels off. And there is one way for him to prove it. It isn't. At some point, he needs to put your needs first if he is committed, or at least second after his daughter's. I really hope you aren't being used. I wonder if he has told his daughter not to mention you to family. I'm guessing no one visits if you live together. OP says, yes, I'm pretty sure he told his daughter not to mention me so his in-laws don't get hurt. Now we mostly hang out with my family, not his. Lazuli Rose says, it's been 2 years. The first Christmas after his wife passed away, I can understand. But it's like you're his dirty little secrets. He's keeping his family and his ex-in-laws. It might be too late for this holiday, but I think you need to tell him that starting in the new year, he can either acknowledge you with his family and his ex-in-laws, or the relationship is over. He's got no problems living with you, letting you help raise his daughter, and having an intimate relationship, but he wants to keep it quiet to avoid hurting the in-laws? What about the way you are hurt by being excluded? That's okay with him? He's 100% using you. You can choose to let it continue and move on and find someone who doesn't think you should be hidden, not the a-hole. Absolutely. This man is 100% using her. And it's really sad because we obviously know about the phenomenon that a lot of men move on relatively quickly after the loss of a spouse. And the fact that he even had his eyes on the neighbor that's half his junior to be his wife's replacement is absolutely insane. He had no business starting a new relationship with this girl down the hall. It reeks of desperation. He did not want to be left holding the bag of being a single father to this little girl. And he just wanted to have the comforts of having a spouse as soon as possible. I would be shocked to know that and honestly, I'm not even sure if this man even gave himself the proper time to grieve his ex-wife, to be honest. But there is an update, so let's go ahead and see what's up. I ended up having a heart-to-heart with him. I straight up asked if he only asked me out because he wanted a bang nanny. Does he actually love me? Why is he hiding me? I told him it really hurts when he only posts pictures of himself and his daughter, and everyone's commenting on what an amazing super dad he is for doing it all on his own. If I'm just a convenience, I'm out. He went quiet for a bit, then handed me his phone and said, read my conversation with my parents. So I did. Turns out he mentioned me a few times. They told him they have no interest in getting to know me and that he should have moved closer to them so they could help his daughter and he could truly heal. They accused me of taking advantage of him because he was vulnerable, and they hate me for it. Oh, and apparently I'm a quote-unquote gold digger with daddy issues. He defended me, though. He told them none of that is true, that I've helped him get back on his feet, and that I've never asked him to pay for anything. Then, a few weeks ago, he told them he wanted to bring me for Christmas. They said I wasn't welcome because they'd invite his in-laws and called me a quote-unquote cheap placeholder. He told them he didn't even want to go, but they said his daughter wanted to see both sides of the family. So in the end, he agreed. I asked him, why didn't you tell me any of this? He said, I was trying to fix it without hurting you. Then I asked if his friends feel the same way, and he admitted they do. They were friends with his late wife and think he moved on too fast and don't like me. He said, if I bring you around, they'll just say things that hurt you. I'm trying to figure this out, but I don't know how. I asked, how do you actually feel? Do you agree with them? He said, of course not. I just don't want people to hurt you. So I asked, what's your plan? He said, I don't know. I'm exhausted. You tell me. I told him maybe he should take the Christmas break to reflect, and after that, we could try therapy to figure things out. He agreed and then went on to buy dinner for us. Honestly, I don't even know what to think anymore. Girl, you need to get out of this situation. I know she's young, so she doesn't realize that this shit is bigger than her, but she needs to tell that man to get out of her house, take that daughter, and have a nice life. Because if this man is unwilling to cut ties with his in-laws and the group of friends that he shared with his wife, no relationship is ever going to be successful for him, because it seems as if they only want him for his ex-wife. And I understand them feeling hurt that he moved on so quickly, because I mean, it does sound absolutely insane. But he needs to be able to stand up for himself and any other future partners that he brings into the mix going forward. She needs to cut her losses. You guys are not married. You're only, 2 years in? 2 years is not that long in the grand scheme of things. Pack your shit and go, girl. But let's look into the comments and see what people are saying. Lil Babe Vibes says, but hey, kudos to you for being direct. Asking if you're just a bang nanny is next level relationship interrogation. If only we could all ask our partners such questions over dinner instead of discussing the weather. Pride of Cape Town says, agreed. It's refreshing to see someone just attack the issue head on. But I'm still wondering why he doesn't include pics of OP and block the people who he knows don't approve of the relationship. Exactly. Lost Caterpillar says, he did say that they don't approve of her. So if he posts a picture with her or about her, he's afraid that both his friends and family would comment really negatively, and then said she'll find out that his friends and family really dislike her. All Crank No Spark says, then why is he friends with them? Nymph the Scribe says, because life isn't quite that simple. It honestly sounds like he's trying to be a good partner and has proof that he showed OP of this. The issue is that he's doing it alone. It's great OP hit this head on so he doesn't have to do it alone anymore. OP, I hope you do reflect on what he showed you and the reasoning behind his actions/inactions. Maybe he didn't approach it the right way. That doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad partner or doesn't want to be with you or even doesn't want your relationship to be public. It's very easy to do the wrong thing for the right reason when you're trying to protect someone you care about. Granted, I only have the information you have shared to go off, but I suggest you tell him the thing to do next is not to figure this all out on his own. Therapy is a great idea. If you care about him and you believe he cares about you and has shown you and told you what is the honest truth, then take the leap and put the work into it. All relationships are work, especially the best and healthiest ones. They require give and take compromise and, most importantly, understanding. If you believe he's being honest, don't allow the other people currently in his life to taint your relationship. You know who you are and who you are not. You know your intentions and what they are not. Don't allow others to dictate this for you and change the way you feel about something because they want to be mad at someone for not doing something that has nothing to do with them on their timeline. Keep communication going over the holidays while you reflect, and keep being the person both you and he knows you are. Only you can decide this for yourself. But if you feel he's worth it, and again, he's being honest with what's going on, the time, work, and effort is worth the possibility of the pain if that time, work, and effort does not work out. Honestly, that's what you should ask yourself. Will the potential for the pain be worth the energy of expecting not to go through that pain? Rather give it your everything to work through these issues together and risk the potential, because there is always a risk in any and every relationship. Hurt things don't work out in the end. I feel like that was very solid advice, but she should definitely keep an eye on things. The fact that he won't even post her because he's too scared of, other people. Like, are you 47 or are you 17? You're a grown man. If you want to move on, you're well within your right to do so. And they don't have to like your spouse, but they do have to respect her. And that's something that he should have made very clear in the conversations that he's had with the in-laws and his friend group. He definitely needs to make a decision though, because you can't just only fuck with her in person and then act like you're some single dad doing it on your own. Like that's not cool. Let's look for one more comment. Unappetite Veggie said, honestly, does this make you happy? He might defend you, but to his family, you're a young woman who watched his wife pass away slowly, and then you quote unquote helped him out when he needed. And within a year, you're his girlfriend. And within 1.5 years of his wife's death, he has moved in a woman nearly 15 years his junior to mother his baby. It doesn't look great to an outsider. I know that's not how you experienced it, but all these other commenters are forgetting to look at it as a loving friend or a sibling. Your boyfriend was in mourning with a young child. You made yourself readily available. He moved you in and has you doing the majority of his childcare. You're his easy crutch. Just remarry fast, then windows because of many reasons. But usually they can't handle being alone. He didn't even date you. You turned up on his door and he said, this one works. Are you sure this is about relationship? Do you want to be a nanny, maid, or a ex object to his friends and family for the rest of your life? They know him very well. Why would they think this? Why do his friends who he sees often think poorly of you? They aren't evil. So what's going on? Well, they think poorly of her because she's almost half his junior, and has moved in and is taking care of his child a year and a half after his wife passed away. I mean, that's not too hard to understand. But we do have another update, y'all. So let's jump in and see where things are at right now. Since people have been asking in DMs, here's the update. Update on my boyfriend. Leave it to a kindergartner to spill all your secrets. They left yesterday, but apparently his in-laws came by early in the morning to his parents' house to visit his daughter while he was still asleep. His father-in-law complimented his daughter's dress, and she said, Ella Bella picked it. My name's Isabella, and my sister used to call me Ella Bella as a kid. His daughter heard it from my family and now calls me that sometimes. Her grandpa asked if Ella Bella was her school friend, and his dad said, no, it's their neighbor who sometimes watches her. But his daughter said, no, she's not our neighbor. She lives with us, and just kept going. When my boyfriend woke up, his father-in-law was not happy. He said he wasn't mad that he moved on. They knew it would happen eventually, but he's disappointed he lied about it and had to hear the truth from a kid. He was also pissed that my boyfriend's parents knew and lied too. My boyfriend apologized and said he wanted to tell them in person, but his in-laws are still upset. For now, they've canceled coming to his parents' house for Christmas dinner. They still want to see their granddaughter, but aren't ready to talk to him. Now his parents are mad at him too, and he said it's probably best if he comes back earlier than planned, maybe on Boxing Day. He admitted he was an idiot and should have been honest from the start because now everyone's upset. He also said he's done with this drama and from now on he's going low contact or no contact with anyone who has a problem with him dating. Update on me. I haven't told him I got a positive pregnancy test. Oh Lord, this girl is pregnant. I haven't told him I got a positive pregnancy test. My options right now. 1. Terminate before he comes back without telling him. 2. Don't terminate. Raise the baby on my own and break up with him. 3. Talk to him and decide what to do together. Honestly, I'm super anxious about talking to him. We've talked about getting married and having kids someday, but we've never talked about unplanned pregnancies. I've been on the pill forever, but my doctor switched up my prescription this cycle, and I should have stuck to my gut when I suggested using condoms. But he said I was being paranoid. I don't think he's ready for a baby, but I also don't feel right deciding this for him. I need to think everything through a bit more before making a decision. Oh Lord, the fact that she's pregnant definitely makes this entire situation a lot more difficult. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here, but it's definitely giving he is trying to trap her. He probably feels that she's pulling away after the realization that he's probably never going to stand up for her and that she probably is not a good fit for him and his daughter, and he's probably doing this as a way to ensure that she'll stick around. And if I were her friend, I would tell her to terminate and move on. Like, I'm just keeping it a dub. But let's look at the comments. Mage Maeve says, I would encourage you to really have some honest conversations with yourself before he gets back and you two sit down together. 1, are you ready for a pregnancy and baby right now? Especially with these revelations to his family so new and fresh. This will likely be an incredibly stressful time, regardless of how he plans to proceed. 2, things are looking better, but far from settled. Your new baby will likely be met with resentment and disdain by half of her bio family. Is that something you feel ready emotionally and mentally to help your child process while growing up? And through the potential differences in treatment by bio family between them and their sister? If he really wants to pursue termination, are you okay with that? How would you feel emotionally if that's his response? And what's your response if he is insistent on following through? Communication is so important, and I would never say pursue a termination without discussing it with him, especially given your current long-term romantic relationship. However, regardless of what he's now told his extended family, there are still some flags I'm seeing as inequitable in this situation. You love him and value his opinion, which you should, but this whole time you've been the most worried about almost everyone except yourself. It isn't unfair for him to look into yourself for the outcome you see as best for yourself before you talk. That way, you're coming to the conversation prepared and less likely to make a decision on only emotion. Best of luck on any path you decide to follow. That was really solid advice. However, it is her body, and I don't necessarily think she has to include him in her decision, especially if she knows that she wants to end the relationship. I think she needs to decide what she wants to do in the relationship and move from there. This situation is so freaking messy, but this commenter knocked it out of the park. If she keeps a baby by this man, the baby 100% will be met with resentment from the other family. And yeah, it's just some things are not meant to be. And as we all know, as the saying goes, love is not enough. You need more than love to keep a relationship going. This girl is young. She has more than enough time to meet somebody her own age that she could start a life with and grow and start a family with. So that's all we have for today, y'all. Let me know what y'all think of this situation and what y'all would tell the OP to do in this situation. I want to thank you all so much for watching. And if you'd enjoyed this content, please consider subbing and hitting the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload. I'll see you next time. Bye.